Newsflash, not everyone knows what they want to be for the rest of their life when they're 18 years old. Fortunately, for those of you who are like me and you decided to pursue nursing fashionably late in your education or life, accelerated nursing programs exist. Today's video is all about accelerated nursing programs, what they are, who can apply, what it's like to go through them, and some tips for how you can succeed in one. If you guys are new here, hello, I'm Liz. I'm a family nurse practitioner, but back in the day, 8 years ago, holy Hannah, I went through an accelerated nursing program to pursue my BSN because, long story short, I changed my mind my senior year of college and said, never mind, I won't want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, and that was no longer an option to just switch majors. So I needed to do an accelerated nursing program to get me there. And on this channel, I make weekly vlogs documenting my transition from a family nurse practitioner student to starting my new job, and weekly nursing videos, and I've gotten a lot of requests for accelerated nursing programs, so here we are. And if that sounds like something you're into and maybe want to follow a little bit more, make sure to subscribe down below. I'd love to have you on my adventure. And for everyone else, welcome back. Now let's take a look at what these programs are all about, because they are a little bit mysterious and seem pretty intimidating. So let's start with, what is an accelerated nursing program? It's a condensed nursing program that provides you with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, making you eligible to sit for the NCLEX, which is the certifying exam you take to become a registered nurse in the United States. While you're in the program, you only take nursing classes. So those are going to be pathophysiology, pharm, med-surg 1 and 2, mother-baby, psych, community, leadership, assessment, those core classes, and then the labs that go along with them. How exactly does that work? Good question. There's prerequisites. What are they? I'll tell you. So to go into these programs, you're going to need a bachelor's degree in anything. Whatever you want. Mine was in neuropsychology, but I had people in my program who were from a music background. It really doesn't matter. You just need a bachelor's in something. There are also going to be prerequisite classes because, like I said, the actual accelerated nursing program, they just do all of your nursing classes. So you need those classes that go before those that you would normally take in your first or second year of undergrad in order to succeed in those nursing classes. So you got to get those done beforehand. And there's a couple of them. The common classes that seem to be sort of standard across the board are going to be anatomy and physiology, statistics, biology, biochemistry, microbiology, psychology, nutrition, chemistry, and statistics. And a side note, if you're someone who took those classes, but maybe you graduated 5-10 years ago, make sure to look at your nursing program's requirement because some of them require you to have statistics and your sciences within the last 5 years, so you may have to retake them. As you noticed, that is quite a little list there. And there's a few ways to go about getting all of those classes done. The first is the easiest way. So if you are like me, you're in college, you have 1 more year left, and you've decided you want to transition into nursing and an ABSN program is going to be for you, you can kind of tuck those classes in, especially if you're already a science major. I was really fortunate that my major was science focused, so I had already taken most of those classes and I really only had to throw in nutrition and physiology, and the rest of them I had already done. So if you can do that and you can kind of weasel those classes into your current schedule, maybe you have electives that you can fill up with, I would absolutely do that. Then you're not going out and taking all these extra classes, taking extra time. The second option for people who have, moved on from college, or you're in a major where like nothing is relatable, is taking the classes at a community college. And this is going to be great because you don't get extra credit for taking those classes, the prerequisites, at a 4-year university. I mean, they're going to look at it and be like, yep, you did them, cool. And they're going to be cheaper. And like I said, in the long run, they count just as much if you did them at a 4-year. So I would go find your community college and get those classes done. Also, a lot of community colleges have night classes. They work with your schedule a lot more within a 4-year, and you could do them while you are still working your whatever job you're doing right now. And the final prerequisite for a lot of these ABSN programs is a GPA. A lot of the ones that I've looked into have a minimum requirement of a 3.0. Now don't panic if you're sitting in there and you're like, this is what I want to do, but I don't have a 3.0. It's okay, friend. Start taking some of those prerequisites that I mentioned, study hard in those, and then include those in your cumulative GPA, and it'll bump itself up. A 3.0 is a B average, so you're just gonna have to forget the C's to get degrees mentality here for a minute and get a B, and that'll raise you up. And if you need to raise your grade a little higher, try for a B+, and that'll tug your little 2.8 right up into the 3 zone, and you're good to apply. So now that you've done all of this, you've looked at your prereqs, you're ready to go, you've decided this is your path, you need to know about the application process. So let's take a look at that. And the application process to an accelerated BSN program is very similar to pretty much any nursing program. They're gonna look at your original undergrad GPA, like we talked about. They're gonna look at your work experience. Take a peek at your resume. What have you been doing? Have you volunteered at a hospital maybe? Have you been working as a CNA? Those things aren't required, but just try to look like a well-rounded person who hasn't been sitting on their bum for like 4 years before you apply to a program. Otherwise, I don't know if you're gonna get in. A lot of the programs really seem to value a diverse background, you know? So we had teachers, I had engineers, we had all sorts in my ABSN program. So just be yourself, throw your resume out there. You're also going to have to write a personal statement. Everyone's favorite part. And my recommendation for when you go to write your personal statement for why you wanna be a nurse is be authentic. Nobody wants to sit there. You can spot a robot type monologue like a mile away. You know, I want to be a nurse because I like helping people and I just want to save the world. Like, sure, you can include some of that, but that is boring as mud to read, okay? Be yourself. Throw some of your personality in there. If you have a story, like what connected you to nursing, maybe you saw your grandparent or your parent going through an illness and you were able to see the value of nursing, or you yourself. Something personal or just your own genuine insight is so refreshing. But on the same hand, make sure to go to the nursing handbook and incorporate their nursing values, because every nursing school has nursing values into your essay. So what you'll do is you'll go on their website, you'll go to the nursing handbook, which is online under resources under every nursing school, skim the first couple of pages of their nursing handbook, and it'll say like, our nursing mission statement is patient education, safety, and compassionate care, whatever it is, and just kind of weasel those in sort of discreetly so that they know you're someone that's looked into the school and your values align with theirs, even if you're just kind of throwing it into your essay. So now you've done this, you've applied to the program, you're starting to look at what this would actually be like for you. You're wondering, how long are these programs? Let me tell you. Usually accelerated nursing programs are 12 to 18 months. Personally, mine was 17 months and I could not imagine it being any shorter. I know a lot of them are 12 months, they get you right through, but I don't know if you could absorb that much that quickly. If you're someone that can just like vacuum suck information into your life, maybe that's for you. But personally for me, I could not have done it any faster. And it makes me wonder what the programs that are 12 months, I really wonder what their, completion rates are and all of that, which leads me to my next point, which is, what are you looking for when you're looking at an accelerated nursing program and trying to choose the right one, because there are a lot out there. The first thing, like we just talked about, you should look at are the program completion rates. So if 30 people go into this in the fall and only like 20 graduate at the end, what happened to those other people? Like, did they fail classes? Did they just decide this is not for me and they bounced? What happened? You want a program that's gonna retain all of their people and get them through. And that's not saying like shove anyone through. You might lose a couple of people throughout the way that like this just wasn't their jam, but to lose like 10 out of 30, that would be a red flag for me. The next, which is just as important, is your NCLEX passing rate. That's the goal, right? To become a registered nurse at the end of this program. So you wanna make sure your NCLEX passing rates at these schools are like 95 up. Obviously, the higher the better. But I will say on that note, it is a little bit unnerving. So my school's pass rate was, I think, 100% for like 3 years. And I just remember that was my main thought going into the NCLEX was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be the person who's like, well, we had a 100% pass rate for 3 years and then we met Liz and she tanked it. Ugh. I don't want to be that person, but you won't be, you'll be totally fine. That's just my little side note about schools with like a really good pass rate. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm that person. And then the final thing to look at when you're looking at nursing schools is word of mouth reputation. In case you haven't figured this out yet, nurses don't hold back. So if you go out and you know any nurses in the area, ask them, be like, hey, when new grads get spit out of nursing school, like, are there any programs that maybe you would avoid? And they'll tell you, and they'll tell you more. Like, I know when people have asked me, they're like, hey, is there any nursing like grads that pop out and you're just like, I don't want to, no, versus other ones where you're like, yep, you're gonna be competent and fine. And there are, my friends. There are definite ones where I'm like, where'd you go to nursing school? And they say some of the names and I'm like, just because they don't prepare you as well. So ask around, see if that happens, and they'll tell you. Nurses are real honest people. Really enjoy telling you all of their opinions all the time. So that has always been a very informative approach whenever I have questions about things like, which program should I choose? They'll let you know. Okay, next step, great. You've looked into the application process, you've taken your prereqs, you chose a school, you got in. Now, What's your life gonna look like? So all programs are different, obviously, but as the general rule of thumb, your very beginning semester of your accelerated nursing program is gonna be your bookwork classes. So probably pathophysiology, pharm, you might have a lab that you learn how to do vitals and basic physical assessment, but this is gonna be kind of your most boring semester, you know what I mean, where you're taking classes and you're like, I'm not really doing anything like in person. At least that's how it was for me, and I was like, this is dull. But you get that out of the way, you have to lay a foundation, and that's your foundation. Then the rest of your semesters are going to be a mashup. You're gonna maybe take 1 or 2 or 3 book courses mixed with a clinical class. So you're going to be in clinical in the beginning, usually like 2 days and then 3 on-campus days. And side note, almost all accelerated nursing programs are 5 days a week, full-time. I mean, you are there. You're either on campus in class or at lab, and the other days you are in clinical. And then throughout the course of the program, it kind of the balance switches. So I noticed towards the end of my program, we were on campus studying like 2 days a week, and we were in clinical 3 days a week. As your program continues, they kind of throw you into the hospital more, or whatever setting you're working in, and your book work becomes a little bit less, but you're still studying a ton. And in terms of how to prepare for a program before you're entering it, the biggest thing is just gonna get like mentally in the zone to work hard, because accelerated nursing programs, any nursing program, they're rough. It's gonna kind of kick your butt. You're gonna need to get organized, find yourself a planner, have the conversation with your loved ones that like, I'm gonna be here, but I might be a little bit unstable for a little while. It's gonna be fine. Love me for 1.5 years while I go through this. We'll get through this. Get your life organized, you know, figure out what studying style works best for you, how to plan your life. This is a pretty all-encompassing life program, but you can totally do it with a life. A lot of people in my program had kids, family, everything. And you just have to plan ahead. You know, if you know you have a huge thing coming up, like a huge family event that you want to go to, fun wedding, kid's birthday party, just plan ahead, do your homework ahead. It'll be totally fine. Now, I said it's a 5-day-a-week program, right? So the next question probably in your mind is, but can I work? And here's the thing. A lot of nursing schools will say no, but in reality, if you need to work, you need to work. Like, it's not the best to be homeless while you're trying to go to clinical and survive nursing school. If you need to work so that you have a home and food, then you need to work. I mean, it is one of those things. I worked because I needed to work. So while your school says no, I would say it's more of a you pick 2 situation. Get good grades, have a job, or have a social life. Pick 2. I would strongly recommend going with get good grades as one of your options, because remember, employers are gonna look at that, and if you're getting like that minimum GPA, they're gonna know it, and they're gonna that shows your work ethic a little bit, so they might skip over your application and go to someone else's. You never know, maybe you are gonna wanna go back to grad school and you don't even know it yet, and that's competitive. So you're gonna wanna have the highest GPA possible in order to stand out in your grad school applications. But overall, in general, I would just recommend try to get the best grades possible. So pick that option number 1. And then option number 2, do you need to work? Okay, well, your social life might suffer a little. I was a waitress, so I would work a couple nights during the week, and then I worked doubles on the weekends. Didn't really have a social life, but you know, I married the guy I was dating in nursing school, so it can't have been that bad. And other people in the program who didn't work, they had social lives. They went out and did events. You end up becoming really close with all your nursing buddies that you're going through the program with, and they would go out and do fun stuff all the time. You can definitely have a life. It's just all about how you balance and organize your time. Do whatever works for you, within the scope of reason. You're not going to be able to maintain a 9-to-5 day job. Obviously, if you're working something like that, you're going to have to switch it around and make the hours work, because while I will say you can work, nursing school needs to be your priority. So don't have some job that like drains you of all of your soul and energy, because that's just not going to work out. Next question, is it hard? Yeah, nursing school is hard. I don't think that shocks anyone, but fortunately, if you're going to nursing school, hopefully you're interested in nursing, and an accelerated nursing program is nice because all the classes are about nursing. So you're probably going to be interested in most of them. Overall, I thought it was really easy to engage in the content because it was interesting. This is what I wanted to do. There is a lot of studying in an accelerated nursing program. Since you're taking all of your core nursing classes kind of all together, there's a lot of exams. And hopefully your school, my school tried to stagger it so you would never have more than 1 exam on a day. But we were in 5 core nursing classes, so you had 2 exams a week usually every week. So you were just kind of like chugging through them, and that's just hard to kind of keep up with studying wise. So it's a lot of studying, and then mixed in with the studying, you have obviously papers and discussion boards, the bane of everyone's existence. Does anyone like study discussion boards? Like anyone? Please let me know if you like discussion boards and why. Also let me know what's wrong with you. Just kidding. I'm sure you're totally normal and everything's fine. But on a side note, just because nursing school is hard, do not let that scare you out of going. Do not ever let being afraid of something scare you out of doing it if that's your passion. Because guess what? If that's your passion and that's what you want to do, you are going to be able to work harder in order to attain it. You may need to tweak your studying style a little bit, hone in on what's going to work for you. But if this is your thing, never, ever doubt that you can do it. You are smart enough and you got this. I promise. So what are my tips for succeeding in an accelerated nursing program? If you can, you're gonna wanna find a study group. There's a lot of content and a lot of times you kind of lock onto one aspect of it and other people locked onto others. So when you're talking through disease processes or, you know, what are the steps for this procedure, it's easy to kind of forget part of them. And then when you're in a group and you're talking through it, you're like, oh yeah, I missed that step. So it's good to have a study group where other people's perspectives or memories kind of all come together and you can talk through everything. Super helpful. However, be very good when you are in your study group. Someone has to have discipline. No one in my study group had discipline and we were all friends and we would get together with the best intentions and to study, and all we would end up doing was playing Just Dance, drinking wine, and eating nachos, which is really not the best for studying, but great for your mental health. So, side note, find a study group. Maybe don't make it your best friends. Obviously that didn't work out super well for me, but we all survived, we all passed. But when we did study, it went really well and I would super recommend that. Also, having a study group is kind of like your own built-in support group. So nursing school is intense and you're gonna need someone to kind of vent to who understands. Like sure, your boyfriend, your mom, your sister, your wife might understand, but they don't really understand. You know what I mean? And you're gonna need people who get it, who are in the trenches with you that you can vent to. That's going to help your mental health, which is going to help you succeed all around. Second thing you're gonna need is just to become really organized. Get a planner, write down all of the assignments in the beginning of the semester, what you have to do, and write down all your life events, and then see like how you can work things around so that you can still have a little bit of a life, or you can get to work and manage all of that while getting all of your homework done. And there's gonna be a lot going on. Like I said, there's a lot of exams, there's a lot of assignments. So if you don't have it all organized and written down, you're gonna forget something. And nursing is not a very forgiving beast. I have not found many nursing professors who were like, I'm really sorry, I forgot. They were like, it's fine, honey. They're not the kindest people. They're a little rough around the edges, so best to just remember all your assignments. And my last tip would be bring a little notebook just like this to clinical with you, to the lab with you, whatever. And I would write down in it things that you encounter that you don't know how to do. So say you're in clinical and someone places an NG tube and you're like, ooh, I don't exactly remember the steps on how to do an NG tube. Let me go look it up, see how I verify placement and, you know, the basics of how to use it so that the next time you encounter it, you feel a little bit more prepared. Or you encounter a medicine that you don't know, skill, anything like that, certain bandage change. You know what I mean. You can write it down and look it up later. Because a lot of times I remember I would see stuff in clinical and I was like, ooh, I want to remember that for later. Guess you don't remember that for later. You get home on the couch and you like fall like a zombie and your brain is just like mush after a long day. So write it down, you can look it up later and be super prepared and impress everyone next time. And the final tip would be just believe in yourself. You can do this. It is a grueling process, but it's over before you know it and you're a nurse and you're out there doing your thing and it's great. It's a little bit overwhelming. I feel you. I reminded myself a lot, like one day at a time, just do one day at a time. Don't look at the whole, you know, scheme of things and how crazy this is. It's one day at a time and it's only a couple of months. You know, you can do anything for a couple of months and then you have the payoff for the rest of your life. That's a little bit about accelerated nursing programs, what my experience was with them. Hopefully you learned a little bit about them. And again, if you guys are new here, I'm Liz. I make videos just like this one on nursing, all sorts of goodies like that. And I do a weekly vlog on my experience as a family nurse practitioner. So if you're into that, make sure to subscribe below to join my adventure and join me over on Instagram. And for everybody else, thanks for coming back and hanging out with me for another video. The question of the day is, are you in an accelerated program? Did you do an accelerated program and what was your experience? And if you haven't been in one yet, but you're thinking about it, let me know if you have any other questions about accelerated nursing programs that I didn't get to in this video, or just let me know that you're going into one. You know I love chatting with you in the comments. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me this week. I will see all of you again later. Bye.